Oh, the joys of owning things.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is an early morning here up at the yurt. It is Friday. I drove up last night after work to get up here. Did that so I could get up early, get back in the car and drive down to a farm supply store to pick up hay. I'm up here at the yurt to take care of some chores before it starts to get really cold. Now it is the 4th of October and it is already, I'm looking at my temperature here, it's 42 degrees outside and it won't be too long before it starts to freeze up here. And if you live in a cold climate, you know there are inevitably a bunch of chores you need to get done before that freeze comes. And so I'm gonna get ready here, make some breakfast, make some coffee, and then head out. All right, should be fun. One of the things I do throughout the year is, as we have extra bagels around the house, I make these breakfast sandwiches, freeze them, specifically for the yurt, so that when I come up here and I'm skiing or whatever, I don't have to get up early and make a bunch of breakfast. I can just pop these into the oven to eat, and so that's what I'm gonna do. And we'll get some coffee going. Takes a little while, but it's worth it. It's good.
Sun's just starting to come out. Time to go grit this hay, or straw rather. All right, we are all loaded up with hay. 34 bales of straw. That should keep us warm for the winter. Now I'll drive back to the yurt and to do the actual work day for my day job. All right, with getting hay out of the way, now I have to put in a full day of work with my day job. I'm very fortunate I can do this remote, so I'm gonna get my setup going here and I will see you in a few hours. And that's the end of the workday. It is warm in here. I took out the AC unit when I got here last night because it's that weird time of the year where at night the temperature is getting down to like 38, 40 degrees. But during the day it's like 80 degrees, which means in here it's like 85, 90 degrees. So it's definitely a little bit of a warm work day. But now we're gonna get started on the whole reason we came up here, which are some chores. So let's hop out there. So the yurt sits on footings, you can see here. So there's this space, and the first year I didn't put anything up against this and it was fine. The second year we didn't get any snowfall. So if there's snowfall around this, under this stays perfectly warm. But the second year, it got really, really cold and there was no snow, so there was no insulation, and I did have some pipes freeze. So after that, I started putting straw up against this to insulate it, and I haven't had any problems under the yurt since. Last year though, I used hay because I couldn't get straw, and that caused a bunch of issues. So when I pushed the hay back, I had black growth along this thing. So I already went through and scrubbed it this summer, but now what I'm gonna do is come through here, scrub this, because you can see the paint's coming off in places, and spray this with an anti-mold paint before I put anything up against this. And this year, I've got straw again. That's all the straw you saw me grab this morning with the truck. And we're gonna put plastic up against this. Tonight, what I want to get done is I want to get all of this cleaned off and maybe sprayed, but I'm not sure I'm gonna have time. I've got like an hour and a half before it starts to get dark. The other thing I need to do paint-wise is, and this is not because I did anything, note that the paint on these yurts from Freedom Yurt Company, this stain is 5 years old and it's already starting to come off, especially where the windows are in. You can see this is the drain hole, and as the water comes in, it builds up here. I'm gonna tape those off and spray those with paint as well. I'm not gonna get to painting the yurt this year. That'll be a project for next summer because I'm gonna take the awning off here and paint the whole thing. But just to get through the winter though, I wanna make sure all of this bare wood is covered with paint so it doesn't get punky over the winter. All right, time to get scrubbing. After scrubbing it, I've got just plain water in here, rinse it off.
And hopefully by the time I come all the way back around, this is all dry and then I can spray. Now I just need to do that 18 more times. Okay, so 45 minutes to get all of this cleaned off. I just have to wait for this to dry so I can come back with the primer. I'm gonna be using an anti-mold primer. I don't think I have a huge issue, but it's only a little bit more money, and why not just seal everything just to make sure. So I'm gonna try to get this done tonight. Hopefully it dries enough where I can at least get this done so that tomorrow I can start putting up the plastic and getting all of this hay down here. This is the spray paint I'm using in case anybody cares. It's just a primer. All of these windows, I'll come back and do tomorrow. I gotta tape this off so I don't get it in the screens and stuff. But tonight, just focusing on the perimeter here to get ready for putting the plastic up tomorrow. It's about as far as I'm gonna go until the rest of this dries out for now. I'm sitting here at the yurt, just waiting for where I sprayed to dry. And you can see, look at the clouds, like really cloudy over there. Absolutely gorgeous. Quickly running out of daylight here, but I gotta get this done so it's ready to go for tomorrow. So I got the headlight on. I'm gonna hurry up and try to finish this up. This is all dry. I just went around, put my hand underneath the whole way, so it should be good. Actually, I'm wrong. This side is still wet. Yeah, still wet under there. Maybe this is still, well, shoot. I guess we're gonna have to do that tomorrow. Not optimal, but this stuff dries in an hour. So I'll have to make that work. I was hoping to be out of here by noon tomorrow, but that's probably not gonna work out. All right, well, make some dinner. We have an absolutely amazing neighborhood back home, and one of our neighbors' parents are from India, and she made some curry, some chicken curry, and dropped it off at the house before I came up here because she knew I'd like it. So I brought that, packet of rice, and a thing of naan, and I'm gonna get this cooked up. I mean, just look at this homemade goodness. Chicken, chickpeas, curious how hot it is. Check that before I figure out how much of this I'm gonna heat up. Oh, very mild, but full of flavor. That is really good. Yeah, let's get this warmed up. I'm gonna double up on the plates on this guy. A healthy portion there. Curry. Oh yeah. Oh, some naan. Whew. Look at that. Smells absolutely amazing. All right, here it is. Wow. Suki, you'll never see this, but thank you very much. This is amazing. I am gonna enjoy this. And I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I might watch some YouTube, might go down to Sugar Bowl for a drink, but I'll check back in. Update on my plans. I did not realize there was a new White Rook 85 video out. One of my favorite YouTubers. It's just a guy going up to his cabin, but great minds think alike, I guess. So I'm just gonna hang out here, maybe have a cocktail, watch this, and I'll see you in the morning and finish up that work. Good morning from the yurt. Not the type of morning I was hoping. Before I came up here, I looked at the forecast and it wasn't supposed to rain until tomorrow, and I got woken up at 5:30 this morning with the sound of rain off the top of the roof. So everything is wet, which is not good for the type of work that I need to do. It's not downpouring, and I don't mind working in the rain, but for painting and taping plastic to this, that's just not gonna work. And I need to leave on a work trip on Monday. Waiting around is not an option. But yeah, this is soaking wet. This is where the water drains out of this window. So this is gonna be a no-go, even if the rain stops in the next couple hours. I wouldn't be able to paint this stuff. I have a few options. I could just put the straw bales around the outside for now, and then come back up in a few weeks and finish all this off, paint all these. Because it's straw, it won't get as wet and as heavy as hay, and I can come back later. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I also have a lot of other chores to take care of up here. I'm gonna change out some batteries on some sensors. I've gotta move the air conditioner over to the yellow building, and there's a few other things that need to go over there. So I'm gonna get some breakfast. I may go drive around. There's a couple things I want to check out while I'm up here, a couple properties for sale since I am looking. And then I'll come back here, knock this workout, and probably drive home. I don't want to just stay up here and watch TV in the yurt. So I'll go home and take care of some other stuff there.
2 hours later.
Back from looking at some properties. Got some interesting ideas on different neighborhoods. But back to the yurt, a couple hours later, you can see it has stopped raining temporarily. It's supposed to start again at 3, but it's absolutely gorgeous now. So I may get the opportunity to do what I wanted over here, but I'm gonna take care of some other chores ahead of that and give this all as much time to dry out as possible. I'm gonna start with moving some stuff from the inside of the yurt over to the yellow cabin, which I don't know that I've ever shown the yellow cabin, so let's give a tour of that. Ooh, a lot of flies in here. But this is the yellow cabin. So some history on the yellow cabin and why it exists. So I bought this property, it's 5 acres, 4 miles north of the access road from Sugarloaf, Maine, 8 years ago. And it was kind of impulsive buy. A friend of mine noticed that it was for sale. She reached out to me, said, I know you're looking for a spot, and I bought it. When I bought it, I only had enough money to buy the property. I didn't have enough money to put anything up here. So for the first 2 years, would come up here and sleep in my car or sleep in tents, even in the winter. And then the 3rd year, I bought this 10 by 19 foot shed and finished the inside. I insulated it. I put up all this shiplap, put in the windows, and this was my cabin for years 3 through 5, actually. And I had this, kitchenette, camp stove, refrigerator. This has full power. Over here, I used to have the futon that's now over in the yurt, which is over across the way there. And this was a great spot when it was just me. I would put the heater, a propane heater here. I had a carbon dioxide detector, of course, so I didn't kill myself. But yeah, those first few years were interesting. I'd drive up here after work on a Friday, and it would be freezing in here, literally sometimes below 0. I'd come in here, start the heater, go back to the sugar bowl, let this heat up, and then come back. So this was a great spot for those years before I built the yurt. Now, unfortunately, it's just a storage facility. I do have plans of renting out various parts of this yurt eventually. I do need to get in here and do some work to make this livable. Definitely need to put in a heater that is vented, get another set of bunk beds. And I have to figure out bathroom facilities. When I was up here, I was literally just using a bucket and those sanitary bags that you would get from Cabela's. I don't think too many people are gonna wanna do that. So yeah, this is the yellow cabin. This is the original Camp Mintaka. And why Mintaka? When I was a boy, my father traveled for business. He worked overseas, and I didn't get to see him much. He'd be home for 3 months a year around hunting season and Christmas, and he might pop back in through the summer, but really didn't get to see him that much. And he told me when I was a kid that because Orion, the constellation Orion, is the only constellation that you can see in both the northern and southern hemisphere, or at least maybe it's the easiest to identify. I don't know that it's the only one. Anyway, he said if you look at Orion's belt and you look at the center star, just know that I'm also looking at that star, and in that way we'll somehow be connected. And I've always loved that. I will still look up to Orion and smile, and Mintaka is the center star in Orion's belt. So this whole property is named after that way of staying connected with my dad. All right, with that history lesson and taking a step back in time a little bit, we will get our chores, get the stuff moved over here. It is absolutely gorgeous up here. It is about peak foliage in terms of the leaves changing color. Second week of October. Next weekend might be a little bit better, but this is pretty close to what we get up here. These are mostly dry underneath in most cases. I'm gonna wipe them down with rags to speed this along, but I think that should allow me to get these painted.
the joys of owning things. I'm not sure what dug in here. I did confirm it's not due to a leak from the plumbing, but I gotta fill that hole before I can do anything. I do suppose I'm fortunate that this whole lot is a former gravel pit, so there's dirt everywhere to grab. I've got a pile here and a wheelbarrow, so I'll just snag from there. Okay, well, I think my next steps have pretty much been determined for me. There's a few things I'm gonna have to come back up for. The first is this seam here. There's no water getting in yet, but these all need to be redone before this can be painted. And with that hole that I showed earlier, I'm actually not gonna put plastic around the outside at this time. I wanna be able to come back in and check on this, see if that settles, or frankly, if I buried anything alive and it decides to come out, put more dirt in there. So I'm gonna get started putting the hay around this. I know there's inconsistency in straw bales. Last year it took 34. This year I should have bought 35. But that's all right. I've got it around the balance for now. And the next time I come up, I'll grab one more bale with me. That'll keep the pipes freezing until I get back for some work trips towards the end of October. Here we are. All right, well, since I'm not doing as much outside as I thought I would, I'm gonna finish up the inside chores, which is, one, you can see this is where all the stuff that I moved over to the yellow cabin was. I'm gonna put the dehumidifier over here versus over there to give me more room. I need to put the cow skin rug back down here. And then lastly, my temp sensor right there is no longer reporting through the internet, so I need to fix that. And through the magic of editing, done, and that's communicating again. I even got a shower in there. Well, last thing I gotta do is just clean up so I can head home. I'm gonna spare you that. Thanks for watching. If you wanna see another video where I had to do more work here at the yurt, specifically when the pipes froze last winter, click here. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.